If you're more of a visual learner, check us out on YouTube where we draw out details of the PMP exam. Find us at PM Notebooks and subscribe. The link is also in the details of this podcast. This is the PMP and the Snap. Sneak in a quick lesson into your busy schedule so you can pass that exam. Let's snap in. Hey there, Project Rockstars. Welcome back to PMP and the Snap, the podcast that serves up project management knowledge faster than your stakeholders can change their minds. I'm your host, Kaye B, and today we're diving into plan scope management process because let's be real, if you don't plan your scope right, your project is basically a runaway train with no brakes. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs, let's do a quick recap of what scope management is all about. At its core, project scope management is all about defining and controlling what work is and isn't included in the project. It helps you ensure the project includes only the work required to complete the objectives, keep the stakeholders aligned on deliverables, prevent scope creep, which, in plain English, is when a project keeps growing like an out-of-control houseplant, and finally, ensures deliverables are accepted and signed off because I thought it wasn't included in XYZ is every PM's worst nightmare. Scope management includes 6 key processes, but today we're focusing on planned scope management, the foundation for everything that follows. So, what is planned scope management? The planned scope management process is where you create a scope management plan that tells you how you'll define, manage, validate, and control scope throughout the project. It's like writing the rule book before the game starts. So when someone tries to change the rules mid-project, you can confidently say, that's now how we agreed to play. Before you could create a scope management plan, you need some key ingredients, aka the inputs. First one up is Project Charter. This document lays out the project's high-level purpose, objectives, and initial scope. Think of it as your project's birth certificate. It gives the project its official identity. Next one is Project Management Plan. Specifically, this includes a quality management plan, life cycle approach, and development approach, which all influence how you define and manage the scope. Then there's Enterprise Environmental Factors. These are external factors like company culture, industry standards, regulations, or even the availability of resources that impact your scope planning. And then there's organizational process assets. These are internal assets such as past project lessons, templates, and policies that you can leverage instead of reinventing the wheel. Once you've got all your inputs, it's time to actually create the scope management plan. To do this, we'll use the following tools and techniques. Expert judgment. Consulting with experienced project managers, subject matter experts, or stakeholders who have been there, done that, and learned from the past projects. Meetings. Because what's project management without a few good meetings? These discussions help align stakeholders and define scope expectations. And then there's data analysis. Looking at previous project data to see what worked or didn't in similar projects. This includes analyzing risk factors, assumptions, and constraints that could impact scope. At the end of this process, you'll get 2 key deliverables or outputs. These are Scope Management Plan. This is the blueprint for how you define, validate, and control scope throughout the project. It includes how the scope statement will be developed, how you document the requirements, and the process for scope validation and control. And the second one is Requirements Management Plan. This is where you define how you gather, track, and prioritize requirements. Think of it as a shopping list for what your project will deliver. So why does this all matter? A strong scope management plan saves you from endless changes that make your project a moving target, stakeholders saying, I thought we were also getting this feature, and delivering work nobody asked for, or worse, nobody wants. When you plan your scope upfront, you gain clarity, control, and confidence, which is exactly what you need to keep your project on track and within budget. Alright, let's recap the plan scope management process in a flash. Number 1, for inputs you need the project charter, project management plan, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. The tools and techniques you need is expert judgment, meetings, and data analysis. And the outputs you'll get scope management plan and requirements management plan. Mastering this process will set you up for scope success and, more importantly, save you from project chaos. And that is our wrap on PMP and the Snap. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share this podcast with your fellow PMs. And if you have a PMP topic you want to break down, drop me a message and I'll help you out. Until next time, stay productive, stay in scope, and remember, if it's not in the plan, it's not in the project. Catch you in the next episode. Are you finding it hard to track what you need to focus on for the PMP? We got just the thing for you. Go to pmnotebooks.com and sign up to get a free PMP study planner. This planner is created to help you map out your attack on the exam so you can pass it on the first time. In addition, you'll get some bonus tips about the exam. The link is also in the podcast description.